Welcome back, everybody, to DRL TV. My name's Ryan Branch, alongside Martin Wenzel, the DRL Cup Series Texas 250 at Texas Motor Speedway. Tonight should be a good one, Martin. We've got a nice size field. Can't wait to watch this race get underway.
Yeah, I got the new package, same as Auto Club. Shouldn't be. Still gonna have to worry about that. The exits out of turn 2 and 4, but it won't be as tricky as we'll see tomorrow night in the B cars.
Well, we've seen Eric Wolf kind of come in and out and participate in races just barely for a lap or two the last few weeks. Maybe just getting participation. I guess last week he had family or something around, but he comes out. Oh, I was about to say post the pole position, but Logan McAnally steals it away there at the end, I believe. So McAnally in that 88 car, been fast the last few weeks, comes out, posts another pole position. Oh, he seems to be a force to be reckoned with as of late here, Martin.
Yes, he does.
Cars take the grid right now. Look at the point standings quickly. Wade Hustad out there in front. Joseph Helt sits second. Anthony Bros in third. Thomas Harmon in fourth, and Jim Westerfield rounds out the top 5. You see Logan McAnally there in 10th. I think he might have missed a race, maybe. 74 points back of the lead right now, so not a big deal. Plenty of season to go. And he's already got a win under his belt, so he has snuck into those playoffs already. We'll run through the starting grid here. Logan McAnally in first. Eric Wolf's going to start on the outside. Helt starting in third. Wade Hustad starts fourth. Got Eric Hutton starting 5th. John Theodore is going to start in the 6th spot. Taylor Butcher Benjamin starts 7th. Chad Presnall 8th. Got Chris James in that 82. He's starting in the 9th position. Thomas Harmon starts 10th. Spencer Tart 11th. Connor Lane's going to start in 12th. Mike Springer in the 12. He starts in 13th. Hunter Johnson 14th. We watch qualify there at the end. Jim Westerfield 15th. Chris Lucky starts in the 16th position. Alexander Russell 17th. John Mullins 18th. You got Dustin Musel in the 22, who's going to start in the 19th spot. Steve Turner 20th. Caden Honeycutt starts in 21st. Harry Tiller in 22nd. And that's going to round out the field tonight. 22 drivers here at the Texas 250. Got a lot of laps in front of us. Should be a good race. The league implemented a new scoring system for these guys as far as penalties are concerned here tonight. So hopefully we see a little more conservative driving on the starts and restarts of the race. Things are fairly clean in the DRL, but we have had a couple messy races. Not necessarily in the Cup Series. They haven't been too bad, but in the Grand National Series and the trucks, they've been a little messy so far this season. So just trying to tighten things up a little bit. Make these guys use their head at the beginning of these restarts, and you know, kind of let your racecraft win your races, not let you trying to be over aggressive on these starts. So
yeah, so the key one going for our restarts is in the if you cause a wreck, or I think you might even just determine whoever is at fault for a wreck within the first 5 laps after a start or a restart. They'll get a 30-second black flag, so a little bit stiffer penalty than we've ever seen before. And then otherwise, outside of that first 5 laps, it's an EOL if it's a racing incident, and 30-second black flag if it's something too aggressive. Logan McAnally gets a nice jump.
yeah, McAnally out there real quick to the front. Eric Wolf sits in 2nd right now. Joe Helt in the 3rd spot. 78 car of Eric Hutton slides up into 4th, and then Wade Hustad back to the 5th position now.
And then we got a clump of 6 cars: Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Thomas Harmon, Chris James, John Theodore, Presnall, and Connor Lane. Still 2 wide, and Spencer Tart's getting in the mix too.
And Spencer Tart down there to the inside of the 27 of John Theodore. You see Mike Springer all the way down to the apron. Springer kind of stuck down there. Goes way, way down. He's going to drop to the back end of the field and come back up onto the racing surface. Oh, and he looks like, I don't know. Oh, yeah, he blinked out there for a second. So maybe some connection issues from the 12 of Springer. This is a long race, but this is a very, very fast racetrack. Races a lot like Atlanta does, so you know, the guys are able to make a couple different moves work here when needed. This new package is definitely something to get used to. Everybody, you know, drafting is going to come into effect a little bit here, and cars may be a little easier to handle on this racetrack than they were in previous years.
Ooh, we got a first caution of the day.
Whoa, and it's a big one.
That's Connor Lane. He gets up into the 77. That's going to be on Connor Lane probably. He's going to get a 30-second penalty likely from that.
Wow. That was
and I don't know how much that...
one.
Yeah.
So we'll
Let's
go back
see
and
who we
watch
got
the
here
5 here to the inside of the 68 of Harmon. Not Connor Lane's fault. Thomas Harmon actually gets loose in front of him. Connor Lane trying to avoid him and slides up into the 77. And that's where everything begins. Wow. That
so
took out a lot of drivers.
To decide, you know, it's like, is that... Yeah, how much does Connor Lane get blamed for that?
I mean,
not
Connor Lane's fault
68
at all, so.
got the apron there and gets loose, so...
Wow.
68 not involved in any of that, and that might be... And that's a situation where it's like race control has to determine, does 68 get that 30-second penalty for that? Because he doesn't have any damage. His race is not hurt at all from that.
He drives away scot-free from the wreck,
yep.
and then.
And that's what the penalty system's kind of going to go into, is that because I don't think it's going to affect guys when, you know, they cause something. You know, in Connor Lane's case, he's probably going to be in the pits for 30 seconds anyway, so getting a black flag is kind of pointless at that point. He's not going to lose much more.
Right.
Let's see who that collected. I'm going to go through here. 77. 28 got a little damage. John Theodore, he gets up into Jim Westerfield in the 4 car. Steve Turner and Harry Tiller get into each other. Alexander Russell, John Mullins, Chad Presnall, and Dustin Musial slams into that pretty hard at the end.
It's like quite a few of these guys still down here on pit road. John Theodore's still down there. Hunter Johnson, Jim Westerfield, Steve Turner, Chad Presnall, Connor Lane, Dustin, Chris Lucky, Alexander Russell, and Harry Tiller all on pit road.
I'm looking at that. Not a single car behind Harmon got out of that without any damage, except for Richard Lucky and probably Mike Springer, because those guys are just so far back they were able to slow down and just drive around it.
Yeah, so maybe that whatever it was that held Mike Springer up was a bit of a gift.
Oh yeah, he definitely, by backing out there, because he clearly was just backing out, he would have been caught up in that, because where he was driving right before he decided, hey, I'm going to shut it down and just drive around the back, he would have been right in the middle of that.
All of these guys, all of these guys racing off pit road except for 3. So John Theodore, Jim Westerfield, and Harry Tiller need more repairs on the vehicle. Everyone else able to stay on that lead lap. Probably have some more repairs to get done, but confident enough with their cars to get back out there and just try to stick at the tail end of this field until another caution flies and they're able to finish repairs. John Theodore can't be happy with the way that one went. He's done fairly well so far this season. And then Chris Lucky, he's already got a victory this season. No way he's happy. He was the beginning of that wreck when Connor Lane touched him just on the inside of his rear left quarter panel.
Yeah, so Mike Springer goes from the back of the field. He's now, I believe he is in first and is the control car, if my standings are correct. And he's got the outside, so...
Yeah, Mike Springer elected to stay out after all of that, so
he
he's
is
going to
the
race
leader.
from
He is the control car, and he takes off. Wolf right with him. And they're going to give that penalty to Connor Lane. So Connor Lane's going to have to come down for a 30-second, but I think... Well, yeah, Connor Lane's back out, so he's going to have to come back down, take a 30-second penalty.
Logan McAnally making an aggressive move, slides up right in front of the 12, right to the outside of Eric Wolf. Well, those two guys have been going at it already at the beginning of this race, but Joe Helt has been right on their heels the entire time.
Wow,
Oh, and there's
Helt
Joe
is
Helt to the inside.
rushing that bumper of Eric Wolf.
And perhaps getting a little bit too close. That gives Eric Wolf a bit of a shove out there into the front. Now Joe Helt's going to have to take that position from the 88 all by himself.
John Theodore already stepping out of his car. Damage just too much.
Jim Westerfield and Harry Tiller electing to stay in the race for now. Still getting repairs down there on pit road. Now you have Connor Lane coming in to serve his penalty. Chris Lucky in the 77 also coming back down pit road for a third time. So perhaps Lucky way underpowered and thinks he needs some additional repair.
Yeah, that's a surprising. The way that caution was brought out was a guy hitting that apron. Actually, not surprising. I hit that apron all the time here at Texas, and
that was just enough to force the 5 just to the outside of Harmon, and
yep.
Fortunately, Chris Lucky, he was in the way.
Yeah, and going forward, it's going to be a learning experience for race control to figure out which things should be the 30-second penalty, which things should be, should Connor Lane have gotten that, or should that have been attributed to Thomas Harmon, because Harmon's the guy that kind of precipitated the whole, and that's going to be a discussion, and that will be a discussion after the race, probably in race control. Was that the right call? And hopefully, as the season goes along, race control we'll get better at it. This is a new thing. I mean, not completely brand new, the assigning of blame. And I think Connor Lane took ownership of it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate too, taking ownership when the 68 checked up in front of him. But at the same time, if you leave the decision up to race control, the penalty's severe. So it's kind of, everyone just needs to pipe up and say, hey, that was me, sorry. Harmon has to know that he stacked those guys up a little bit, and that's what brought it out. But
yeah, I mean, it's kind of a question of, what should Connor Lane have done there? Can he, did he need to get out of the way there? Maybe.
Yeah, it's either that or you hook that back right bumper of the 68.
Yeah, I mean, either way,
him up in front of everybody anyway.
He might have ended up hitting the 68.
Things starting to string out here. First through fifth, Eric Wolf running out there in the number 24 car. Logan McAnally sits in second. Third place, Joseph Helt. Fourth there is Wade Hustad in that 32 car. Caden Honeycutt, who started second to last tonight, all the way up to fifth now after that incident. Hunter Johnson being passed on the inside by Spencer Tart, so Tart's going to take the 6th position. You got Chris James in the 82 there to the inside of the 48 of Johnson. Chris James sits in 8th. Eric Hutton in the 78 sits 9th, and Thomas Harmon in that 68 car round out your top 10. You see the 5 of Connor Lane is up there running okay with these guys, so not a ton of damage to the car. He's still able to maintain speed here. To the outside of him is the 8 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. And back to the 12th position, John Mullins in the 64. Mike Springer slid all the way back to 13th now after that. So he started on the pole, got a lead lap, but now he's going to start in the he's going to be in the 13th position after just a short couple laps from that restart. Does have 16 laps on his tires, while these other guys only have 10 at the moment. Back up to the front, things really starting to string out here as everybody's pretty much single file. First double wide racing we have in the pack is back here, all the way back to Thomas Harmon. And he's got...
I'm sure Eric Wolf wants to... This is Eric Wolf's home track.
Yeah, I mean, Wolf is... he's always strong here. I think he's good here. He was great here last year. He's good at Homestead. He's typically, I think he's typically pretty good at Auto Club. Shame he didn't get a chance to really race that one this year. Eric Wolf, just not a guy we talked about much this year. He was definitely a force to be reckoned with 2 years ago in this Cup Series. Last year, I think he elected to bow out when the playoffs came around, so he didn't take the spot of another driver because he wasn't going to be able to compete in enough races. But he is back. See how long it lasts. I don't know if if he's here for the long haul, if he plans to make a playoff run this season or not.
Yeah, and at this point, I think for him to make that run, he's going to have to win a race, which I think he'll be able to do.
Yeah, I mean, a couple years ago, he won 7 or 8 of them. I think he got a win or 2 last year at least, so.
Well, I think even that first year, he just had so many points, and even last year, he missed quite a number of races, and I think he had a win or 2. But even with points, he was in. Even if he didn't have those wins, he was in on points despite missing a number of races. Because he usually, when he does, actually race, he usually finishes top 5.
If only we could all be fast like that, huh?
Yep.
I remember in a practice sometime during last season, I piped up and asked Eric Wolf a question. I think I sent him a message on Discord or something. I said, "Hey man, what brake bias are you running?" He told me 2 different numbers, and he said he was running 1 brake bias in one corner and 1 in another corner, and my mind was officially blown at that point as he was using hotkeys on his steering wheel to adjust his brake bias on the fly. So I know he puts a lot into it, and he is a very, very quick driver, very skilled behind that race car.
I can't even figure out a brake bias. I don't even usually mess with that stuff just because I figure I'm just going to mess it and make it worse.
Yeah, well, especially on those short tracks, it matters a lot when one of the turns is a lot more wide than one of the other turns is. So he'll turn it up or down, a point or half a point just to make the corner a little easier on him. Impressive driving so far there by the 24. Just behind him, you've got Logan McCannley, Joseph Helt, and Wade Hustad all running pretty much bumper to bumper in a line. Caden Honeycutt, that 37, starting the 21st position tonight, up to 5th. 78 of Eric Hutton trying to get around Spencer Tart. And then Connor Lane in that 5 car again did receive some damage during that wreck, but seems to have quite a clean car, able to hang with these guys out here. It's actually made up some ground. Excuse me, has made up some ground since the restart, so. Maybe not gaining on the leaders so much, but he has put a gap between himself and 68 of Harmon. He was behind when they came around their last cars. Harry Tiller is back out on the track. So he hit 6 laps down right there in that 69 car, but seems to be running fine now. About collecting the laps. You never know when a caution flag is going to fly. It's going to damage somebody, knock them out of the race, and make those laps up over time. So Harry Tiller, Steve Turner in the 26 car, and the 5 of Connor Lane all need to keep a positive attitude moving forward here. The last car on the lead lap is Alexander Russell in this 44 machine. He seems to be struggling. He sits 26 seconds behind leaders, 11 seconds behind the next car in front of him, Lucky. So 44 will be being caught by the field leaders anytime now, as you see there in the background. Eric Wolf around turn 2.
Yeah, Steve Turner easily around Spencer Tart. Tart's falling back. He's gonna get taken here by Hutton and Harmon pretty soon. And there he goes.
Who's that?
Spencer Tart is dropping like a rock. in the back there.
Oh yeah, the 78 and the 68 going right around him.
Steve Turner, oh, okay, he must be on new tires because he's just blowing by guys right now. He just flew past Tart, Lane, and Honeycutt.
Yeah, Steve Turner with
He's
only
2
5 laps on his tires at the moment, so.
So now he's in that he just took that lucky dog spot from Connor Lane. So I was going to say, Lane has a lot of time to get back on the lead lap, but now that he's behind Turner, it's going to be a little bit harder.
Hey, you're going to have to make some sacrifices to do it. Stay out, you know, get to the front of the field, maybe start, whatever. You know, sit in the front of the field behind the pace car and get that wave around, and then be stuck at the back end of the field on super old tires and pray that another caution flag flies. That's the only way really to get those laps back, unless you're the lucky dog. So, and then if it goes green, you're really screwed because you're gonna have to come down and pit.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what Turner did, and I'm not going to go back and look at it right now, but I know he was caught in that wreck, but he obviously was not in the pits until just now. So I feel like he just went down pit road a few laps ago or something, got fresh tires. Because he just drove around, he's driving around the entire field right now.
Yeah, he did get around everybody. Now you got the 44 who just recently, a couple races ago, got tangled up with the leaders and caused an accident. Now Eric Wolf, that's going to cause him to lose his position. So Logan McAnally is going to take first away from Eric Wolf. We have a new leader.
Yeah, so Russell's going to go down a lap, and he'll be the lucky dog. Oh, no, he'll be the lucky dog.
No, now you
he'll
have...
be the lucky dog. Because he'll still be a lap down. Steve Turner is a lap down. But
Turner's going to have to come all the way around and catch back up
again
to the back of him.
Yeah. That was kind of a weird situation because you usually don't see that with one guy blowing past another guy and they suddenly get on the same lap like that. Yeah, Steve Turner, I'm really curious what he did there because he was in pit road that last yellow, got his repairs or whatever he did, obviously came down for tires that time, and then he just a couple laps ago must have come in and gotten fresh tires, gone down another lap or two. Probably lost another lap and then just driving probably the fastest car on the track right now with those fresh tires.
You guys can see how big the gap really is there with Logan McAnally out in front of the 24 now. So starting to run away from Eric Wolf. Eric Wolf dropping back almost to the 02 of Joseph Felt as he continues to gain. And then the major gap back to the 37 here of Caden Honeycutt. So Dakota Wilkins falling a couple more spots. Connor Lane and Honeycutt come around him.
I mean, Alexander Russell.
Oh yeah, did I say Dakota Wilkins?
Yeah, Wilkins is 44 in the Truck Series.
Yeah. That's what happens when we have, you know, people with the same number. I don't know how I feel about the new package, Martin. I thought it was supposed to keep these guys closer to one another, and things still seem to have strung out quite easily, so...
Yeah, it strung out really quickly today. Auto Club, it stayed pretty close a lot of that race. But here, it strings out really quickly. It only takes a few laps. I think probably once you get... That first caution came out pretty close to 5 laps in, yeah.
But so that first caution?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was on lap 5.
Yeah, once you get past lap 5, 6, then it really strings out pretty quickly.
And they were still pack racing a little bit there when that first caution flew. Obviously, that's why it took so many drivers out. But then so many people got minor amounts of damage and just slightly underpowered compared to other cars out there. The aerodynamics are thrown off just a little bit, and that helped things string out a little bit too. But I mean, even these guys up towards the front, who we all know are very quick drivers, are, you know, almost unable to stay near each other. Logan
Yeah,
McAnally having a gap over
you're
Eric
saying those
Wolf.
guys. Yeah. Well, you're saying those guys with the minor damage. I'm looking at the standings right now. Those guys with the minor damage, they're still in the lead lap. Presnell, Mullins, Musel, those 3 guys. The rest of, I'm not sure. I don't think Chris James was caught in that at all. Oh yeah, he might have been.
Yeah, Chris James took a little. Presnall,
And Spencer Tart
Musel,
took a little, though.
Mullins.
So
Mike.
Tart and James are doing the best out of that group of cars that got a little damage from that. But otherwise, yeah, it's Presnell, Musel, and Mullins. They're still right with it, and then everyone else is, you know, either out of their cars or still getting repairs, or, you know, in Steve Turner and Connor Lane's case, battling to try to get back on the lead lap.
Oh, you got Joseph
It's actually a little
Helton
bit
and Wade.
smaller field too.
Yeah, it is compared to what we have seen with only 21 cars. Normally seeing about a 30-car field so far this season, but Joseph Helton and Wade Hustad going at one another here. Hustad able to come around the 0-2. I know Helt's got some fans out there in YouTube land, so. And both of those guys catching up to Eric Wolf still, as Eric Wolf continues to lose time to Logan McAnally out in the first. Wolf sits back about a second. Wade Hustad and Joe Helt about half a second back from that. Caden Honeycutt almost 2.5 seconds off of them, so 37 quite a ways back. Connor Lane was able to get around Caden Honeycutt, so I mean, very unfortunate for Connor Lane in that 5 machine, as he's on the same, you know, his tires are about 6 laps newer than these other guys' tires because he had to come down for that drive-through penalty. But I don't, you know, I don't think that's going to affect him too much at this point. Connor Lane, if he had not gotten tied up in all of that, it's actually very, very quick out here tonight so far. So if he is able to get back on the lead lap, I think we could see very good things from that 5 machine. Martin, you still there?
Yeah, I'm just watching the gap widen between these top 5 cars.
Just had a noise there. I thought maybe you got booted from the channel or lost connection, but I don't know what that was. Just Windows screaming at me, I guess.
Huh.
I love the paint job on that 26 car.
Yep.
Awesome.
So he's gonna go back. Well,
Yeah,
actually,
I mean, he was able to
what
come
happened to
around Logan McAnally earlier, and now I think that, you know, as the tires get older here. Oh no, Steve Turner came down and pit again, so short pitting.
Oh, he just keeps pitting. Wow, okay.
Yeah, so he's now 5 laps down in the 26.
Yeah. Really interesting strategy. I don't know if it's just he's not comfortable at this track. He just wants to have the freshest tires. He just wants to get around. I don't know what the strategy is there, because yeah, he was that lucky dog, or he was chasing Russell for the lucky dog because Russell went down a lap.
Yeah, I mean,
Suddenly he's down 5 laps again, so
these other guys, clearly pit window's not yet open. I think they can still head around here for about another 25 laps before they're going to come down for tires. Jim Westerfield getting out there, just turning a lap, and then he turns an 18-minute lap, and then he
oh, there goes
comes back down pit road. So
yep. Turner's done. He just got out of the car. So I think he must have been catching the wall. I just saw him catch the wall a little bit. I think he's just not feeling it. There's another car out of the field.
yeah, so I mean, now you got
big track with only like 16 cars really competing.
Now you got something for
18.
Jim Westerfield to race for out here, right? Because he sits in the 22nd position, 39 laps down. He's still getting some repairs done on the car. He can come around Chris Lucky. He can come around Harry Tiller and Steve Turner. Yep. So
you can get up to 19th.
Well, that's 4 free positions, some extra points just for getting out there and turning laps. So long as the motor doesn't blow, as at this point I think he had to have replaced the motor on that car. He has been getting repairs for quite some time. Top 5 guys have been fairly consistent thus far. Joseph Helt losing a little bit of time now to the top 3. He's 2.5 seconds behind the leaders. He has Caden Honeycutt behind him. And the 68 of Thomas Harmon and the 78 of Eric Hutton. Zertart, as you said earlier, he suddenly just started to drop like a rock. He sits back in the 8th position now, 6 seconds back of our leader. Guys, thank you to all the viewers for tuning in tonight and watching the race. Been a good one so far. That initial caution making things string out fairly quick here. And we should be starting green flag pit stops here fairly shortly. We're going to run to a quick commercial break before that begins. Be right back.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
The outside contact made. 56 slides it at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Guys, we are back. The green flag pit stops have begun. We have 5 drivers from the lead lap already coming down to pit. Alexander Russell, he sits 3 laps down now. He, in the 44 car, he's in 18th. Good Chad Presnell in the 55 come down in pit. Mike Springer in the 12 car sits in 15th. He came down in pit. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the 8. Hunter Johnson, Caden Honeycutt, all electing to pit now.
Yeah, Dustin Musial, McAnally.
Those guys finally coming down for their pit stops. So everyone else, 58, 59 laps on the tires currently.
Yeah, Musial kind of slid into his box. These boxes are pretty slippery. He went sideways
especially
to the wall.
Tires that old, man. It's hard to get these things stopped in a timely manner. And then, you know, as a driver, when you're coming down pit road, you don't want to, slow down too much. Whoa, and Eric Wolf gets the car sideways. He's out into the grass. So Eric Wolf, arguably one of the better drivers here in the Dynasty Racing League, unable to gather the car up.
Able to lock it down. Wow.
So he's going to do
at least lock it down a little bit and get straightened out. But
yeah, Eric Wolf just trying to straighten things out and do a little damage control there.
I think he didn't want to get into Wade Hustad. I think he would have been fine, but I think he really said, okay, I'm going to...
Him and Hustad both went sideways coming in there. Hustad able to hold on to it.
He overshoots his box, too. So the 24 having a ton of issues here.
Yeah,
and
Eric
that's going to hurt him.
Can't be pleased with that one.
For a win. Yeah, at his home track. Now I'm trying to find out.
In the grand scheme of things, Wade Hustad just now racing off pit road. Eric Wolf should come off here fairly quickly afterwards, but he is going to get the 15-second holding penalty. So unsafe
huge.
Pit entrance. That's I don't know, man. Eric Wolf's been fast all night. Can't be pleased with that result. 29.63 seconds in the box there. Joe Helk gets on clean. The 78 carrying a lot of speed. He's able to lock it down. So good clean pit stops by Joseph Helt, the 5 of Connor Lane, and the 78 of Hutton. Last 3 drivers out there that were on those old tires. And Jim Westerfield, we talked about him earlier, being 39 laps down. He has now been out on the track for 22 consecutive laps, so able to get most of those, or some of those positions back. Now sits in 19th. Got all of those positions back. So John Theodore, Chris Lucky, Harry Tiller, and Steve Turner. And now, I don't know, Martin, the one guy that, was kind of running away with it already now has an even bigger gap. Logan McAnally there in that 88. You see Spencer Tart nipping at his heels in the 37, but Tart does have 3 more laps on the tires than the 88, so McAnally should be better throughout this run.
I'm just looking at McAnally's pit box and his pit crew all wearing suits. Suits.
How's that happen? That custom?
Yep. Yeah, we got some custom guys. I noticed John Theodore runs. He's got guys wearing look like X-wing pilots.
I don't even know how you do that. I thought all you could do was play with the colors.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's another file that you have to throw up on Trading Paints. I think you can do your custom helmet, custom. I think that's all you need Trading Paints Pro to do all that. So some of these guys taking full advantage of that.
Well, this is the second in 3 races we've seen McAnally just run away with the race. I mean, he looks very, very fast out there. Just behind the 24 here of Eric Wolf, and he's going to go for the pass where Wolf has fresher tires than him. So
yeah, that's going to put Wolf down. I mean, that shows you how bad Wolf's pit was.
That really cost him.
He is now battling to stay on the lead lap. Battling the guy that he was racing against just a few laps ago. Now he's just trying to survive and stay in front of him to stay on the lead lap.
Again, two lap fresher tires on that 24 machine. Hopefully he can stay in front of the 88.
They'll keep him in front of him.
Yeah, get to the tail end of the lead lap if and when the next caution flag flies, allowing him to race for position again. But Right now, the 24 is just racing to stay ahead of the 88. Caden Honeycutt, like I said, he's on a few lap older tires than the 88. He has now fallen back about a 2-second gap between him and first. And then 4 seconds back to Wade Hustad in the 32 machine. So, I don't know, Martin. Things stay green like they have so far tonight. Logan McAnally's looking at a pretty nice race ahead of him. I think we did see him running out front somewhat recently, and then was it him that was running out front and then got caught up with the 44 of Alexander Russell? Or was he the benefactor in that scenario? I think that was last week. I think McAnally was doing very well, and then he ended up getting caught up in that. So,
well, I don't know if last week, yeah, Alexander Russell last week. I know, yeah, that was that Russell thing, catching the leaders. That was Phoenix, I remember.
Yeah,
the big one I can remember. But
Dustin Musil there in that 22 machine smacks the outside wall on the way out of 2. Has some damage to the right front fender. Wheels exposed, so. Now McAnally a 3-second gap over Caden Honeycutt, so I mean he is just no mercy right now. 88 with nobody to gauge his driving off of is running out there with clean air, nobody around him, and he's continuing to run away with this thing. Richard Lucky, the last car, well, Eric Wolf is the last car in the lead lap. Richard Lucky just ahead of him in that 41 car. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the number 8, he sits in 12th. And up to Hunter Johnson in the 48 machine, he runs in 11th. Chad Presnall just in front of him, and Chris James in the 82 sits in 9th. Mr. Tart in the 28, up in 8th. Got Mike Springer, Eric Hutton, Joseph Helt, 7th, 6th, and 5th. And after all of that exchange, I guess Thomas Harmon in the 68 comes away ahead of Joe Helt. So Helt 3-lap fresher tires than Thomas Harmon does, but Harmon able to keep that position for now. You gotta wonder, I mean, if Caden Honeycutt gets caught by the 32 here of Wade Hustad over the course of this long run. Hustad does have some fresher tires than him. Joe Helt also one of the very last cars to pit, so he should make up some ground as this thing continues.
yeah, we haven't talked about Mark Johnson too much today. He started 11th. He's just been kind of running, you know, around that 10th position all day. He avoided that big wreck.
Actually, I think he got caught up in that wreck a little
bit,
bit, but
yeah, I should have written down a list of all the guys almost, because I can't remember it now if they were caught up or not. But he doesn't seem to have too much damage from that.
That's Hunter Johnson for all the viewers, Martin. I don't even know what the guy's first name is, but he did change it midway through last season, possibly maybe having somebody else, maybe has a middle name or something like that, so he did have iRacing name over.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of rear right damage, but not too much.
Got some cheering in the YouTube channel for John Mullins in the 64. Hasn't been much of a force to be reckoned with yet tonight, but he is on fairly fresh tires compared to a lot of these guys. He sits in the 18th position. He's 2 laps down currently. Obviously, still has an opportunity to get some of those back if we have a caution flag fly. I mean, that's another thing about this package. If and when it does string out like this, these cars are easier to handle than they have been in the recent past, so the guy's not having to really wheel them against the track like they have. So when it does get strung out, I think less of an opportunity for cautions to happen. I talked about it just a little while ago. Wade Hustad possibly catching the 37. He now has the gap down to about 0.6 of a second. So Wade Hustad last time by was about 5/100ths faster than Caden Honeycutt. He's still gaining on the 37. I haven't watched any NASCAR official NASCAR races yet this season, but I mean, I don't know, from a viewer standpoint, this has not, it can't be the most exciting of races to watch. Only the restarts really get exciting when those cars are bunched up with each other, and right now everybody out there kind of just doing their own thing. No threats of passing.
Well, I think that was one of the goals with the new package, was to kind of
Keep things together,
promote
right?
a little bit more pack racing. Kind of what makes Daytona and Talladega so exciting is they just have all those cars right on top of each other, and we saw that a little bit at Auto Club, not to the same extent as Daytona, but
I think,
just enough to make it interesting.
At the end of the day, Martin, it really just comes down to some guys are better at some tracks, some guys are better at every track. As you know, you see guys like Brad Keselowski out there. He's racing in the top 5, whether he's at Watkins Glen or Bristol. You know what I mean? So it's just going to come down to the drivers. I don't think any modification they make to these cars, or any rule that NASCAR tries to put in place, or horsepower adjustments or anything like that, is really going to cause these fields to stay on top of each other and make the racing quote-unquote more exciting to watch. So, at the end of the day, the best driver is going to win. So a lot of guys, I think, would prefer to go back to one of those earlier generations of the car that we have now, you know, ones from the early 2000s when the racing was really exciting. Right now, it seems like every week you got those top 5 guys in NASCAR. You know, you got Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch. I mean, those 3, you hear about them every week. Joey Logano's up there all the time. Wade Hustad, wow. The 37 there, a Honeycutt. Almost getting into the back of Jim Westerfield, as Westerfield coasted down the track a little bit. So Westerfield's still out there just trying to collect laps. Sits 41 laps down after a long series of repairs.
Just about to get into that 19th position, and he's going to be able to probably get, yeah, he'll be able to get into the 18th position, because Connor Lane has also stepped out of his car.
Well, he's already well past Steve. Well, oh, maybe my tracker's messed up. I think it is. It's showing me 85 laps down for Steve Turner, so it was already showing Jim Westerfield in the 19th spot because I had to restart ATVO.
Yeah, Turner's only 41, so they're now on the same lap technically, but Turner not in his car. Well, then, and Connor Lane will be dropping laps pretty quickly here.
Yeah, what happened to Connor Lane? He got out of the car after racing 7 laps down for so long. Maybe just to the point in the race where he says, you know what?
Well, he was only 2 laps down when he got out of the car, so I think he was just, he figured he wasn't going to get any more positions, but...
Yeah, no caution flags coming out, maybe getting discouraged. Doesn't want to race around for the rest of the night, but that only leaves 17 guys out there really competing. Alexander Russell, the last of which, sits 2 laps down. Then John Mullins, also 2 laps back. Dustin Musial, 1 lap down, and Eric Wolf still that last car on the lead lap in the performance sheet. He's actually
and it's gonna be
not far behind Butcher Benjamin, so Eric Wolf maybe will be able to move up into 13th here shortly.
Yeah, and he was Connor Lane kind of was on the raw end of the stick there, catching the first instance of the new rule package. And Jim Westerfield now disconnects, so not realizing he could have probably gained another position there if he had just stayed out.
Yeah, maybe just
content to just stick in.
Yeah, taking what he had there, he needed about another 30.
Yeah,
what,
not sure.
31 laps, 33 laps to get around Connor Lane, but
yeah,
he's
came down pit road and just decided to get out of the car.
And now we got the 44 going down pit road, so Alexander Russell maybe hanging it up. Wow.
Yeah, that's the issue with a track like this is that it just gets strung out and it gets to the point where, like, I'll tell you, if I'm not anywhere close to actually racing anything, I'm falling asleep driving here. You know, Auto Club, Texas, these kind of tracks, they can get pretty boring, and if you're not actually in the thick of something. And that's what's so great about Auto Club a couple weeks ago. I know guys, a lot of the guys here in the Cup Series don't actually like this new package, but it kept things interesting. Yeah, as Russell looks like he is going to get out of the car too.
You got the 24 of Eric Wolf was able to come around the 41 and the 8 there of Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and now you have our leader, Logan McAnally, is catching the back of the 41. Still trying to close that gap on Eric Wolf and put him a lap down. The 41 way to the inside. Barely gets out of the way of the 88. Eric Wolf definitely not giving up here. He wants a caution flag. He wants to be able to catch back up to this field and get out there and try to race for a win. So, and everything he can to stay in front of the 88. The 88, after letting a large gap grow between him and the 24, doing the same thing he did on that last green flag run. Here towards the end of it, he's actually a little quicker than the 24 is. So, see if he's able to catch back up. Does have Taylor Butcher Benjamin to pass first, and that will put Benjamin a lap down. So I expect the 8 wholeheartedly to fight for that position as well. We have these day-night transitions. The weather here is starting to look a little drab at Texas. Got some clouds rolling in. Definitely looks a little overcast out there. Whoa, and then smoke. I don't know who that was, if that was the 24 of Eric Wolf maybe? Smoking the tires a little bit. It was either him or it was the 48 of Hunter Johnson. Just in front of Eric Wolf, but there was definitely smoke there in turn 2.
I didn't see any.
Maybe somebody blinked out or something for a
Yeah,
second, and when they came back in, it just...
That's a big new thing now that I've noticed, that with the blinking, when a guy comes back, it smokes. I don't remember it being like that before. Guy would blink out, he would just come back, and now it blinks out, and when he comes back, he skids and gives you some smoke, and so you can actually... Gets a little scary, even a little bit more sketchy when guys are blinking out, because you keep seeing that puff of smoke right in front of you, so you think there's a wreck or something happening, and it's just that guy blinking in and out. Honeycutt having a really nice race. Started 21st, he's up to 3rd.
We got Jim Westerfield just posted in the YouTube chat. The car was too slow, didn't want to get in anyone's way, on to next week. So Westerfield got those 4 positions that we said he could get, and right afterwards he stepped out of the car. So, and not a bad decision. At least he stayed out there. He did get a few of those spots back, collect himself a few more points. No need to get in anybody's way. And we got Richard Lucky in the 41. He's going to come down in pit. So that's surprising to me. Coming down the pit already. Guy's only with 30 some odd laps on the tires, so maybe something wrong with the car and that 41 of Richard Lucky. Oh, now we got Thomas Harmon coming down pit road. Again, only 30 some odd laps on his tires, so I'm not sure what the pit strategy is here. Maybe we're looking at a short pit strategy, or the guys want to pit 2 more times because they don't think they can make it on just 1 more pit stop. Very interesting. Thomas Harmon was in the 6th spot when he came down pit road, so now Wade Hustad's coming down. So yeah, clearly some pit strategy going on here by a few of these guys. Both Thomas Harmon and Wade Hustad, members of S2R. Maybe some discussion going on in their radio channels. Thought now is the right time to pit, as that will only make them pit 1 more time before the end of the race. Logan McAnally, though, I mean, 38 laps on his tires right now, Martin. I think, you know, if he runs it out similar to the 50 some odd laps like he did last time, he can only get away with pitting once more. So maybe him and a few of these other guys going to make it just a one more pit stop to the end, and the S2R guys making it 2 more pit stops to the end.
Yeah, it's just I just looked up at the.
Yeah, Spencer Tart did the same thing. He came down as well. So all the S2R guys electing to pit very, very early.
Yeah, they got some strategy going there.
Yeah, it's got to be a pit strategy here. I don't know how many of them ran the NIS.
Between him and McAnally and Honeycutt, it's 8.5 seconds.
Oh, it's significant. I mean, you got to do something, right, to get those positions back. I don't think, no matter your pit strategy, nobody's going to be able to move into that lead. But getting yourself back up into the top 5, definitely a possibility. I just feel as though, you know, if McAnally or any of these other guys in the top few are able to hold on to the car, you know, to the 55, 60 lap point, they'll have no issues. Only pitting one more time here. Is Alexander Russell coming back out on the track now? He is.
Okay, so he might have just come down. Yeah, I don't know. He might have had to step away. He might have had to step away.
Yeah, 15 laps down now. The 44 does come back out, so.
Yeah, he might have had damage or something. I don't know, because, or maybe he just had to step away and take a break, do something else. Maybe mom was yelling at him or something. Never know. Because I didn't think he was getting damage repaired, but maybe he was. Because I saw his car go up and get the tires changed, but I suppose it does that, and then they go and start banging out the dents and stuff. So maybe that was what it was.
Well, you know, maybe that early pit and stuff by all the S2R guys was exactly what the 24 of Eric Wolf needed now, as he's up into 7th. If he only pits one more time and he's able to hold on to the car and continue to make up ground on some of these other guys, I mean, you could be looking at Eric Wolf, you know, sneaking back up into the top 10, top 5 towards the end of this race. It's that or a caution. That's the only thing that's going to save him at this point. So he's heading to the inside of the 55 of Chad Presnall. Logan McAnally still closing the gap on 24, so Eric Wolf not wanting to let him around either in the process here. McAnally needs to play this smart. He just needs to continue to be conservative with the car, not try to push things too hard around any of these lap guys, as he does have a 9-second gap over second place right now. Presnall and Eric Wolf getting very close to one another. Running 2 very different lines through these corners.
Well, and I've been talking about, I mentioned that it's a big debate still with that new package. I know a lot of these Cup guys, and even the league owner is not thrilled with this new package. I thought it worked really great a couple weeks ago at Auto Club for us in this Cup Series. That was a great race. Here, it didn't seem to do anything. It just kind of fell flat. And like here, it's like this is almost the most exciting part of the race we've had in a while. And it's Logan McAnally working around lap cars. So
yeah, definitely not the easiest one to broadcast. We have had a little bit to talk about, but we just have Chris Lucky say in the YouTube chat that 52 laps is max on fuel. So maybe those S2R guys had something behind their decision, but I mean, if you get enough of a lead out here, you can even coast a little bit and not have to worry about that. Right now, your leader, the 88, has 46 laps on the tires. So if that's the case, he still has 6 laps to post before he has to come down. And then, I mean, what is he going to have left at that point? He'll be at 111. So then he only has 50. Yeah, I mean,
56. Yeah, it's going to be really tight if that's the limit.
Got Presnall now coming down pit road.
I feel like this is sort of the thing, though, that some people in NASCAR were getting a little bit tired of, that the races came down to just fuel strategy. I remember that becoming a big thing when I was watching NASCAR about 10, 15 years ago. and it was just everything was fuel. It's like, oh, this guy has, 2 laps. He's running out of fuel. He's on fumes, and everything was coming down to fuel. And I figured that was the big thing with one of the things with the new package was trying to just make these races more about racing. Because if that's the case with that 52 lap, that's kind of like the top limit for fuel.
Yeah, well, apparently racing
Logan's
is now
gonna
a
be-
statistician up in the booth doing the math for you and trying to figure out how much gas is left in it.
Yeah. Well, that's how it seems like every sport's getting like that, where it's all analytics and guys doing math and.
Well, and that's I have had a buddy at work that talks about it all the time. And I'm in the car business, and everything just comes down to statistics. If you have X number of customers, this is the number you should sell, and if you're not doing it, you're doing it wrong. And he said, it's like the same thing that baseball's done. Baseball has just went to,
Oh yeah, baseball is.
They've hired a team of nerds, and they sit in the background and they do all the math, and this is who you should play, and this is who you should put in now, and this is how the lineup should be set, and they figured all that stuff out. And
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if football has gotten too. Football doesn't seem to have gotten too analytical yet.
Right. They just play the averages, though. I mean, why wouldn't you do
because
the same?
yeah, baseball is super. I mean, you got the advent, and I think they're going to go away from this now. That they're talking about the 3-pitch or the 3-batter minimum for pitchers, so you're not going to have that left-handed specialist just come in and face one guy. Because it's all come down to so much of those statistics that. And the same in basketball. It's like you see there's teams shooting so many more threes because it just makes more sense to take one step back. Don't shoot that long too. There's no reason to shoot. I mean, you might as well shoot right under the basket or shoot 3-pointers because everything else it's just not worth the. The analytics just tell you it's not worth it.
A couple things to talk about here. Logan McAnally now 52 laps on the tires as he just came over the start-finish line. So he's on his 52nd lap right now. I would expect to see a pit from him very soon. The 24 of Eric Wolf has 50 laps on the tire. So he actually came down and pit after McAnally after the last one. And then Eric Wolf and Eric Hutton and Joseph Helt, both of those guys, and Chris James in the 82, all three of them, with 49 laps on the tires right now. So those three sitting the best as far as fuel's concerned. And I don't know.
I think McAnally's going to tell us. He's going to show us how far he can
push
his car on fuel.
Yeah, he's now at 50 on his 53rd lap. So again, if he can
honestly,
get 54 out of it each time, he's made it to the end of the race. So
yeah, if he's pushing right now on fumes, he wants to go as far as he can on these fumes, and so that he can. Yeah,
and there it is, time to pit.
So there it is.
So he does get 54 laps out of it, though. He's going to have to push that to 55 the next time, though. So McAnally playing a dangerous game at the end of this thing.
Oh, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering how close he is right now on fuel, because if he needed to pit, this lap, and maybe he pit this lap because, he was close, and I think at the end of the race he'll be able to coast, depending on that lead. He'll, if he runs out of fuel, or if he's really close on fuel that last couple laps, if he has a 10-second lead like he just had.
Well, now another thing to talk about. Eric Wolf is going to come down pit road and make his pit stop much more clean than the first time that he pit, but when everything cycles out, McAnally should be ahead of Eric Wolf, so that's going to put Eric Wolf a lap down.
Yeah.
So things are going to get a little confusing here as these guys continue to cycle through on the pit stops. Joseph Helt still running out there, 52 laps on his tires. He's in first. Behind him, you have Wade Hustad in the second position. He only has 18 laps on the tires, followed by Thomas Harmon in the 68, who you see going around Eric Wolf just now. Those guys with, Harmon has 19 laps on the tires. So all of them are going to lead McAnally for some time, but they all do need to pit again. So as we stand, McAnally, I believe, is technically, quote-unquote, if we continue to run it out green, still your leader here tonight. And Eric Wolf may be able to get up to speed and still stays out in front of the 88. So great pit stop by the 24 this time around. Sure, he wishes that he had that same pit the last time by. And now Joseph Helt comes down pit road, so gets a couple laps led there in the O2 machine. Bonus points under his belt. Cannily to the back of the 24, looking to possibly make a pass on Eric Wolf. Tell you what though, Martin, the 24 has definitely fought his way back into this one. He's not going to be out there racing for a win like I'm sure he hoped for, but I think he's fought back and gained himself a couple positions. As he comes around the 41 there of Richard Lucky, putting him into 11th spot now. Some of these other guys do have to come down and pit. See Eric Wolf moving even further up the standings as they come around Thomas Harmon in that 68 machine. So all there is left to catch here for the 24 and the 88 is Wade Hustad in the 32 car. Outpacing his buddy Harmon by quite the margin. 6 seconds. Not a whole lot of commentary going on, guys. Just watching these fellas try to race through some of this traffic. Eric Wolf was able to get around the 32 of Hustad. Now, mechanically, your what was thought to be definite leader is back up in the front. So, mechanically is going to have to go into coast mode at some point. He currently 9 laps on the tires. Eric Hutton has 8 laps on the tires, back in the 5th position, and he is 16 seconds ahead of Hutton. Hayden Honeycutt with 14 laps on the tires, he is 7 seconds, 7.5 ahead of him. So, I mean, mechanically has the opportunity towards the end of this race to do some really good coasting for quite a few laps. I think he's going to be able to conserve the fuel and make it to the end, but we will see how it plays out as this race continues. Cannily coming up on the back of the 55 here of Chad Presnall. Presnall currently runs in 11th, and he will be put a lap down by McCannally if he gets around him. You know, the crazy part here, Martin, the fact that McCannally is still out there and has already passed the 32, the 68, and the 28 is Spencer Tart, and those guys all have to pit again. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I got a report from Pit Road. Dustin Musial, he went down. He's out of fuel, and he's in his pit box, but he's too far forward, and he has no fuel, so he can't back up and get in there to get fueled up.
So now he has to click tow and wait for them to tow him back 2 inches.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's his solution, or he's just sitting there. I don't know.
Oh man.
But that's what's going on with him.
That's one of those things you just wish, oh, if I hit the brake 1 second earlier.
Yeah, and that's one of those things in iRacing that it's like in real life, if you got down there, you went too far. You
your guys could run out and push you.
You guys just gonna push you. Or that difference of an inch. I mean, he's still in his box. It's just because that where the
clipping line
zone
is
for iRacing is smaller than the box actually.
Somebody right across the nose of the 24 there of Eric Wolf. That is the 82 of Chris James. So those guys racing each other pretty hard. Careful not to bring out a caution.
Racing to not be the last car on the lead lap.
Right? Eric Wolf has done a good job so far, able to stay out in front of that 88. He did it all the way through that last green flag run, so 88 was gaining on him right towards the end of it.
Yeah, 88, the Logan McAnally putting the league on notice. Looking like he's got that second win.
Yeah, and he's a contender.
Barring a fuel issue.
Already looking like a contender for a championship, as this is 3 weeks in a row. The 88's been out there running with the best of them, and 2 out of the 3 races now just blowing everybody away. So.
Yeah, and technically, in the first 2 seasons of the Cup Series, we've had a rookie win the championship. Obviously, everyone being, a quote-unquote rookie that first year. But then last year, Wade Hustad winning in his rookie year.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been a little unexpected, too. Both years, Anthony Burrows we saw up towards the front of that, expecting him to win both times. The very first year, he makes a mistake at Homestead and elects not to stay out and lead a lap, when a lead lap, I believe, would have put him actually in the lead to win that first championship. But Eric Wolf stole that one from him, and then Wade Hustad came out and got it last year, so. I think Wolf's paint job is pretty cool. That K&N paint job on the Cup car looks good. Ganley obviously running the old trusty Nationwide. You can see now McAnally not really sticking very close to the 24, so it might be at this point where he just starts to conserve fuel. He's 9.8 seconds ahead of Caden Honeycutt, the only other driver who may or may not have to pit. At this point, I think even Honeycutt's going to have to come down and pit again. So the only guys out there that might not have to pit is Joseph Helt, and he's 22 seconds back. And who else? Maybe Chris James, possibly, and he's 28 seconds back. And he's right there in front of McAnally. So he has absolutely nothing to worry about at this point. He just needs to do a little coasting and make it to the end of this race on fuel.
Yeah, Wade Hustad coming down.
I mean, worst case scenario right now for McAnally would be a caution in the next 5 laps. While, these guys are coming down to get these fresh tires, and they decide to stay out when the caution flag flies. If McAnally stays out, he's going to get blown away. If he comes in, he's going to get shuffled to the back of the field. So he needs to go about 15 or 20 laps from now before a caution flies, and then everyone would pit after that. So the worst case scenario for him would be a very quick caution here.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a conversation between the top 2 guys, Caden Honeycutt. This sucks. Logan McAnally, why? Yeah, and Logan McAnally, this doesn't suck for him at all. He's feeling pretty comfortable. Yeah, he's hoping a yellow flag does not come out, and he's hoping he can conserve enough fuel to cross the finish line. And close there with the 44.
Yeah, I mean, the way this is looking, it depends on how long it takes Hustad and those other S2R guys to catch back up, but Eric Wolf is now sitting in 5th. I mean, if those guys aren't able to get around Wolf, he's going to be in a position to take a top 5. We got Chris James out there who could make it on fuel potentially. Joe Helt can make it. Eric Hutton can make it. Caden Honeycutt is sitting duck right now as he's got 27.
Yeah, he's going down that road.
He's got to come down and pit. He doesn't have a choice. Like I said, some of these guys are going to have to do a little bit of coasting where, you know, Wade Hustad, Thomas Harmon, those guys are going to be full on the gas pedal for the rest of this race. You might have to, you know, see a few of the guys like Helt and Hutton let off a little bit towards the end of the race, but you know, even those two are in a better position than McAnally is, as he is, you know, he pit a lap or two prior to them. So
yeah, with McAnally, it's like we saw when Hustad went in, he was 4 or 5 seconds behind McAnally, so that's the gap that he sort of has. So I think he can coast a little bit.
You know, yeah, Spencer Tart getting around him easy there, but I mean, that's to be expected on those fresher tires. Mike Springer in the 12 around him to the outside.
Coast enough to save that fuel.
Well, it's not even. You're talking way more than. I mean, not even a 5. Right now, Eric Hutton is the only other next guy who can make it on fuel, and he's 14 seconds behind. So again, unless something goes wrong or we have a real quick caution flag fly here, Logan McAnally should have this thing wrapped up. He just needs to make sure he conserves enough fuel. That's when this is a time when running an actual stick shift in these cars is very helpful, rather than some of the guys who just do the paddle shifting. I know I do paddle shifting myself, but being able to throw that car in neutral and coast through some of these corners, or that kind of stuff can be very, very helpful. Or even shutting the car off.
Yeah, I've never attempted. I guess I've never been in a situation, but I've never attempted to go into a corner, shutting the car off completely. I'll do it during the caution laps, but I still feel I'm still horrified by when I did that in an Indy car and then realized, oh wait.
Oh wait, there's no starter on an Indy car.
Yep. So now I think I did that. It was like one of my first races in an Indy car, and I think I bumped the
I might have been in that race with you, Martin.
Yeah, it was one of my first Indy races. I think it was at Auto Club.
It was at Auto Club. Yeah, we used to race those all the time.
Yep. We were taking off in the pits. You know, you start in the pits to go on the pace lap, and I accidentally bumped it, and I'm frantically hitting it. I'm going, I don't think I knew what key it was at that point.
Yeah.
And I say, hey, how do I get my car started again? They're like, you can't.
Yeah, tow. That's the only way. Press and hold the tow button.
Yeah. Well, Chad Presnell, he's going to get out of the car. So he is basically going to be... Well, Russell's still out there, so he's going to lose a position to Alexander Russell.
Can he lose a position to Dustin Musial, too?
Let's see. That's 25 laps. What lap are we on?
142, so I think
he
can
be close.
Just barely lose a.
Might end up on the same lap, or might be past.
Could lose a position to both of those guys. So yeah, I mean, whatever Alexander Russell had to go do earlier. The car's not slow by any means. He still sits with that 15 lap gap behind the leader, which is exactly what he was at earlier when he came back out on the track. So I can't imagine it was damage. Must have had something going on in real life. And now we only have 5 cars left on the lead lap here. I mean, Logan McAnally quickly catching the back of the 82 of Chris James. And then Eric Wolf again, but you know, Eric Wolf's been able to stay out there in front of the 88 for the majority of this race. And McAnally has to be coasting here, as he's still, again, 14 second gap over Eric Hutton in that 78 machine. Time to go into fuel conservation mode.
Yeah, Dustin Musil, he can't even tow in that situation. So he's just stuck there.
You can't tow?
Nope, he can't even tow. So his pit crew's too lazy to push him back an inch. Tow truck can't even come around and tow him around the track one time.
Oh, it's not letting him tow. So I guess there's no way Chad Presnell loses a position to Musil, as he's never going to have the opportunity to get back out there.
Oh yeah,
So the only one who can come around him is Alexander Russell. That's a 16th place finish as of now for Chad Presnell.
I wasn't even thinking on that when you asked me that. It's like, wait a second, yeah, Musil won't be. He'll just continue moving. He's not moving.
That's crazy.
So.
Well, Wade Hustad now comes around the 88 of McAnally, putting himself back on the lead lap. And Thomas Harmon should be next with only 16 laps on his tires. Still sits a ways back of Wade Hustad, so Hustad's been driving the wheels off of him, just maybe making a mistake as far as pit strategy goes. Again, I mean, I don't know, it's hard to say what the right or wrong answer is. Clearly, the S2R guys are majority of this field making, a smart decision to not really push it at the end of this race, and it, maybe it all blows up in McAnally's face at the end of this thing, and he just can't make it on fuel, but definitely a close call to make, as McAnally just shut the car off going into that corner.
Yeah, he's getting
and now the
down
car's
to
back
165
on.
in the corners.
Yep, and now the car's back on. So McAnally is already in fuel conservation mode heavily here.
Well, I think this is a point to do it because he knows he can he's got a 13 and a half second lead over Eric Hutton. He's going to do it right now so that if he needs that fuel at the end to run away from someone,
and once again, they're heading into two. He does this, or one, he does the same exact thing. So,
well, I said is Wade Hustad. Wade Hustad's going to be the one that's going to be able to get closer to him, right? You would think.
No, the only person that I don't even think Hustad can get close to him, because Hustad just came around him. He's got 28 seconds to make up in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's such a long gap.
Laps.
It's like he's got the freshest tires out of everyone, so he can might be able to pass the rest of these guys. But
the only guy that stands a chance at this point, or guys, would be Eric Hutton or Joseph Helt, and even them, I don't think they really have an opportunity unless they're a couple laps fresher, as far as fuel goes than McAnally is. They're going to be able to really race it out towards the end, but
just watch the gap there. He was at 13.5, and then went to 13.4 over Eric Hutton, and now it's down to 12.9. So he's losing a little bit of time, but again, he's saving the fuel now so that he doesn't have to do it the whole way. He's not going to have to do it every single turn. And so he's going to let that lead dwindle to about 5 seconds probably, and then he'll say, okay, I've got enough fuel to make it.
Right. Another thing to look at is how many guys are going to be able to get around the 24 here of Eric Wolf. How hard has he been pushing that car? Because Wolf is out there on the same exact strategy as McAnally is. Both of those guys 38, 39 laps on the tires. Eric Wolf's made up a lot of time after that early mistake on pit road, but how much time has he really made up in the long run, as he has to worry about Chris James getting around him? Chris James probably won't get around him, but Caden Honeycutt in that 37 stands a very real chance of coming around him, as he just pit 15 laps ago. Same thing with Mike Springer, and same thing with Thomas Harmon. So Eric Wolf could end up losing a few more positions, as well as Chris James. Now here comes Caden Honeycutt to the back of the 88. He's going to be able to come around McAnally and get himself back onto the lead lap.
Yeah, that lap Eric Hutton made up half a second, so that must have been a lap where McAnally turned off the engine, because lap before he had only made up about 1/10 of a second. So he's not doing it every turn. He must not be doing it every turn.
No, he's definitely not. If you're shutting it off, he's not got the speed by the next corner to do it every turn. But I think, every lap or every other lap he's doing it in 1 and 2 for sure.
Well, look at Eric Hutton. Eric Hutton gets down to about 164, his lowest speed in the corner. And McAnally was doing that with the engine off. so it's not losing a ton of momentum or anything.
Martin, I have to take a quick break. I'm going to leave you. Not that you have a whole lot to talk about, but I don't want to go to commercial. I'd like everybody to see the end of this race. I'll be back in probably just a couple minutes.
Yeah, Thomas Harmon making the pass. Well, not making the pass, but he's moving around Logan McAnally, getting his lap back. So now we have 8 cars on the lead. And the next car behind Logan McAnally on the track is Hunter Johnson, but he's 2 laps down. Mike Springer and Spencer Tart are the other 2 guys, only 1 lap down.
I am back. That's the last few laps of this race. 7 to go.
Yeah, a little bit. Joe Helt is trying to get past John Mullins, pleading with him, just let me go. Right behind him is Richard Lucky.
Helt is one of the guys who's actually a little more confident on fuel. He's only 44 laps since his last pit stop. He was the last guy to come in there on that last cycle.
Kind of funny, just Joseph Helt and John Mullins kind of going back and forth there a little bit, trying to make things exciting or something. I don't know. As this is the 88 car's race to lose, it got a little. I was getting a little nervous for him as Hunter Johnson was trying to get around him. Got a little bit close to each other.
Well, Eric Wolf has now slid back into the 6th spot after being passed by Wade Hustad, one of those guys who hit on a different strategy than him, and then he's got Caden Honeycutt nipping at his heels there in the 37, so I can only imagine Eric Wolf loses that position as well. And the next guy you'd have to worry about after that is Thomas Harmon in the 68, so...
Yeah, this race, really the race right now is for that top 5 position. And Chris James holding on to 5th right now, just ahead of Wolf and Honeycutt, and then Thomas Harmon.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I would think Honeycutt would be able to get that position from both of those guys, but we'll see.
Yeah, everything else looks like it's pretty much just going to be settled.
Eric Wolf with the same amount of fuel as Logan McAnally has. I mean, they pit at the same time, so right now you're looking at Eric Wolf. Maybe, if he hasn't conserved at all, he might be in danger of running out towards the end of this race as well.
Well, McAnally just masterfully saved fuel
And there goes Honeycutt easily around the 24. Now he just has the 82 to reel in.
All right, there. The 88 must have done a little bit of fuel saving that last lap. He's back down to only 12.3 seconds ahead of Eric Hutton. But he was sitting. He gained that back. He gained about half a second for the last 5 laps. He was sitting at about almost 13 seconds again.
Yeah,
so
I mean, at this point, he just needs to coast it out. Yeah.
Because he's not even losing a ton of time when he cuts the engine. Yeah, he must cut the engine again. He's down to 11.6. I think he's in fuel conservation mode, but he could just coast the rest of this way through the corners, and he'll be fine. 2 laps to go.
The 88 car here of Logan McAnally showing everybody how it's done. Has the better fuel strategy, has been likely the fastest car on the track tonight, maybe second to Eric Wolf, who had that unfortunate early pit stop, sliding out into the infield. But we are to the white flag. Last lap. Even if McAnally runs out now, I have a feeling he's got this one locked up, Martin.
Yeah, I think he's fine. He hasn't turned off the engine, so I think he looking good that last lap. Didn't lose any time to Eric Hutton.
And the 88 of Logan McAnally takes the Texas 250 in the DRL Cup Series at Texas Motor Speedway. Masterful race by the 88. The 78 here of Eric Hutton is going to roll around to the start-finish line, collect second place. Joseph Helt coming away with third. So all of these guys, great fuel strategy, pit strategy by all 3 of those guys up in the front. Helt, who was back to 5th or 6th when all those green flag pit stops very first began, and those S2R guys started making that early pit window happen. He's going to finish just ahead of the 32 of Hustad, so he makes it work, man. I mean, great work by both Hutton and Joseph Helt to gain 3 or 4 spots by staying out and only pitting that one more time before the end of the race. And Logan McAnally down by the start-finish line. We'll see if he's got anything left in the tank for a burnout, and he does. You know, he should just burn it out here, see how long he can do it, see exactly how much fuel is left in that car. No worries by the 88, he says. I've got all the fuel in the world, guys. So if we pull up the point standings here, we look at the point standings. That is going to be race win number 2 for the 88 of Logan McAnally, a rookie here in the Dynasty Racing League. Showing that we had some quality drivers every year. As you were saying earlier, there has been a rookie that wins this Cup Series every year.
Yeah, first 2 years. I mean, granted, everyone is the rookie that first year technically, but last year Wade Hustad came in and came away with the championship. So, McAnally is my early season rookie contender for the championship.
I mean, why wouldn't he be, Martin? At this point. Let's go look at the unofficial results here. McAnally finishes in first, leading 129 laps at a 167 here tonight. Absolute domination by that 88 machine. Eric Hutton finishes in second in the 78. Joseph Helt led 6 laps. He's going to come in third. Wade Hustad finishes 4th. Caden Honeycutt will grab the 5th spot. Chris James finishes 6th. Thomas Harmon in the 7th position. Eric Wolf, after leading early in this race, he's going to come in 8th. 9th goes to Mike Springer. 10th to Spencer Tart. You got Hunter Johnson, the 48 machine, finishes 11th. 12th goes to Taylor Butcher Benjamin. 13th, Richard Lucky. 14th, John Mullins. Alexander Russell finishes in 15th. 16th to Chad Presnall. 17th, Dustin Musial. 18th, Connor Lane. 19th, Jim Westerfield. And 20th, Steve Turner. Last 3 drivers here. Harry Tiller in the 69 finishes 21st. 22nd goes to Chris Lucky. And John Theodore, after that early caution, he's going to come away with the 23rd spot tonight. We're going to go down to the track, and we're going to grab our winner, Logan McAnally, and pull him in for a quick interview. Logan McAnally, you got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir.
Hey man, that's 2 out of 3 races. I know you looked good last week, had some unfortunate stuff happen to you, but you take Phoenix and you take this one. How you feeling after tonight?
Pretty good. It was, I don't know. I just didn't think I was going to be that fast.
Well, you're definitely quick. I think the only one who had anything for you out there was the 24 of Eric Wolf, and then he made the mistake of sliding through his the beginning of pit road and causing himself a penalty, and had to race his way back up to just grab 8th at the end of that one. Absolute domination by you out there tonight. How much fuel do you have left in the car at the end?
About 1.5 laps.
Okay. Well, we saw you coasting quite a bit. Obviously, letting some of that time melt off, but you had plenty of a buffer between you and the 78 of Hutton. It was fun to watch, man. I know it was a small field. Track was definitely interesting this year. Was it quite easy to hold on to the car compared to previous years in this package?
Yeah, last year you had to really wheel it here. This year you've kind of just go off in the corner and let off and then right back on it.
I don't know if you know, we were just talking about it. A rookie has won the DRL championship every year, and you're looking like an early contender for that award, my friend.
I don't know about that one, but we'll see.
I'm sure it sounds good. A lot of races to go, though, man. Congratulations on the first place finish. Let's hear any shout-outs you got tonight.
Nationwide crew, family, James and Getty and everybody that puts us on.
All right, man. Well, you have a wonderful evening. Congrats again on the first place finish, and we'll see you back next week.
Thank you, sir.
That was your winner, Logan McCanley, in the 88 machine. Now we'll grab Eric Hutton in the 78 car. Eric Hutton, you got a copy, sir.
No, I got you.
Hey, you come away with a second place finish. Nice pit strategy you had there at the end, man. How you feeling about this race?
Yeah, the race itself was pretty boring, to be honest, but we got decent pit strategy there. I was happy I could make it. I was trying to do the math in my head while driving. It just wasn't sure if I got it right, but thankfully it did, and I got a decent finish.
Not much more you can ask for. You're a rookie here in the Dynasty Racing League. How you feeling about this Cup Series so far and this package in general?
Yeah, feeling decent about it. This package doesn't really fit my driving style, really, but try to make the best of it and have decent runs at short tracks. So been having fun so far. Hopefully keep getting decent finish.
And how you feeling about next week?
Yeah, I like Bristol, so we'll have to see how everybody else drives. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty decent about it. Hopefully get another top 5.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different than what we saw here tonight. That's going to be an exciting race to watch. Go out there and get some practice this week, man. You got shout-outs for anybody before I let you go?
I just want to thank my crew chief and spotter, William Choi. Hopefully we can go get a decent finish next week.
All right, man. Well, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you back at Bristol.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.
And that was Eric Hutton in the 78, your second place finisher for this evening. And now we'll grab Joseph Hull. He started in third, he finishes third, very consistent. Joe Helt, you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Started in the third spot, finished it in the third spot. Obviously, maybe thanks to some pit strategy by those guys, as I think Hustad, maybe Harmon, and maybe Honeycutt were in front of you before that initial green flag came out. What made you want to stay out there and only make it one more pit stop rather than coming down when those guys did?
We were all talking strategy, and I had stayed out until I was dry on the first run, so I was the longest out on the first run, and we knew it was close, and they decided they wanted it to cut it short. I wanted to do something a little bit different and see what happened, and was able to get her to the end.
Well, you made it work. It probably gained you 1 or 2 spots, so congratulations on that. You've had some solid finishes so far this year. Right now you're sitting, I think that keeps you in second place in the point standings currently. Wade Hustad out there in first, and he finished only 1 spot behind you tonight. But, what do you feel about the new package? Was it as boring as it looked out there tonight?
Man, it's rough. It is rough. It is at least when we would get strung out before, I mean, you were at least fighting the car, and now it's just with the cars glued to the track, and
You don't even have anything to fight.
yeah, man, it's rough. I mean, at least we were working on fuel mileage there, so I was at least lifting a little bit to try and save some fuel, and
Had something to concentrate on.
yeah, man, it's a tough. This is tough, man. I don't know.
Well, next week at Bristol is definitely going to be a whole different story. That should be a fun race to watch. How do you feel about that track in general?
I'm excited. I like Bristol a lot. It's a lot of fun. I like short track racing, and then have the horsepower underneath the hood again. And so I'm excited to go back to a short track.
All right, buddy. Well, get some practice this week. Can't wait to watch your race next. Let's hear the shout-outs.
Thanks to the team, S2R, Spencer, Wade, and Thomas. A lot of fun racing them, hanging out in the chat during the race. And thanks, you guys, putting on a great show, and all the viewers. So I hope they enjoyed this one, even though it might have been a little dry.
Yeah, there was some people out there watching. I think we had 30 to 35 for a majority of the night. I was surprised. You know, some people didn't just tune out halfway through that one, as a lot of the drivers that were multiple laps down kind of just gave up at one point in the race. I think Chad Presnall made it to where he was just ahead of somebody and knew that there was only so many laps to go, and he said, all right, I'm out of the car. And he wasn't the only one that did it, so.
Yeah, man, it's tough, and especially when you're going by guys, I mean, and trying to let people go. Any time you're off the throttle, it costs you at least a quarter second, almost to a half second. So trying to find the right spot to let people go and the right spot to pass is pretty tough with the way that the acceleration is on these cars.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We'll see how it is moving forward. It wasn't too bad at Auto Club. That race was exciting to watch, at least from a viewer standpoint. Tonight's race, not so much, but we did have a smaller field. Hopefully those continue to increase moving forward. We'll see you back next week at Bristol, man. Have a great night.
Sounds good. You guys too.
That was Joseph Helt, your third place finisher for tonight. Well, Martin, it wasn't the most exciting of races to watch, but Logan McAnally proving that he deserves a spot in the Dynasty Racing League as a rookie here. I think he will definitely be one to watch moving forward. And we're going to look at the next race of DRL TV. That will be tomorrow night. That'll be right back here at Texas for the Texas 200 and those Grand National cars. So the Grand National Series with the Dynasty Racing League, followed by the Truck Series on Wednesday night. I think trucks are at, I believe the trucks are at Rockingham, if I'm not mistaken. And then next race of next race of this series, like we were just talking about, that'll be Bristol, Tennessee. Short track, only half a mile, 250 laps around that racetrack. Back to short track racing. Back to having all the horsepower under the hood, as Joe Helt was just saying. So that one's going to be a fun one to watch. You know, the short tracks so far this year haven't been too great in the Grand National and Truck Series, but these Cup guys made Martinsville pretty exciting. So I can't wait to see what they have for us next week at Bristol. Thank you to all the viewers for tuning in and watching tonight. I know it might have been boring at times, but definitely a good race overall. I'll run through the credits. James Pandolf, the owner of the league. Big shout out to him. Martin Wenzel, Jordan Gonzalez for all the graphics work that those guys do. David Wellborn Jr., Getty Buckner, Derek Pemberton, Eric Weatherholtz, and David Lindahl, and all the help on the broadcast team. Then we have Race Control. A little more work for Race Control to do now with this new rule set moving forward as far as cautions are handled and incidents are handled. So Robbie Armstrong, Dakota Wilkins, Ryan Hesgard, Jeremy Hebel, Richard Springer, all those guys stepping up for this season to help out with Race Control. Thank you to those guys. And then, all the admins, all the drivers in the league, everybody involved with the Dynasty Racing League in general. If it wasn't for any of you, this wouldn't be possible if everybody wasn't here working together to try to make DRL one of the best leagues on iRacing. So thank you to all those guys. I can't wait for next week at Bristol. Should be an exciting race. Martin, anything for the viewers before we head out of here tonight?
See you tomorrow night.
Yeah, you'll be out there
Yeah,
racing in those B cars.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a little bit more. I think we're gonna definitely have a few more guys bouncing off that wall coming out of turn 2 in those cars, just a little bit tighter.
Yeah, I think that'll be, weirdly enough, definitely a more exciting race to watch than tonight was. So we'll see how it goes. But see you next week at Bristol, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Yep, you too.